a question for you. Oh, thank you for visiting my channel at David Go To Hobbies, and welcome. Okay, now that's out of the way, I've got a bit of a dilemma. When I retire, right, I don't want to be paying council tax. I don't want to be paying a mortgage. I don't particularly want to be paying rent. But the problem I've got is, where do I live in the UK where I'm not feeding the government's pocket or the councils for that? What do I do? Because do I become a traveller? Do I become a caravaner? Do we have two caravans? The trouble is, where do we park them? The trouble is also, if you live in a park home, you can only live there so many months of the year, and then over the winter period they close the park. In that time, do I live in a caravan? But that means buying a caravan and siting it somewhere, and it's all these questions, and I really don't know what to do for the best. The problem I have is I'm 64, right, and I've got probably about another 5 or 6 years in me before I want to retire. Maybe sooner, maybe later, I don't know. Excuse me. But what do I do for the best? This is the question. Do I buy a truck? Do I convert the truck into a motorhome? Do I buy a truck that's already been converted? Do I get to a point, excuse me, where I won't be able to drive these things anymore, or don't particularly want to? Or, you know, I'm concerned about my wife, how she get, if she's sort of is not living in bricks and mortar, how is she going to live in a park home? Does she want to live in a motorhome? All these questions come to into relevance. But not only that, it's about downsizing as well, because the problem you've got is everything you have in a house, you're not going to fit into a caravan, you're not going to fit into a motorhome, are you? So all you have, you've got to get rid of 80% of it. That's a lot to get rid of. Tables, chairs, you name it, cutlery, everything. You will have to really make some drastic cuts, including me. So the question is, have you been in this position? Have you thought about this thing as well? Because if you're anything like me, you're fed up with the council. You're fed up with this government robbing us out of taxes. Because all this country is just tax, tax, tax. The council tax, water rates, road fund licence, inheritance tax, and you even get taxed on your bloody pension. It's fuel duty. When you buy something, there's VAT on it. And it's not only that, when these corporations make profit, it's like the energy companies, they make they make this profit, and the tax, they have to pay 78% tax on their profits. No wonder our energy bills are so sky high. And who sets the charge rate? Guess what? These muppets in government. Anyway, we're deviating off the way I'm going, really. So I'm looking at it this way, right? Do I buy a bit of land, and we have animals on there? We have perhaps a horse, we have chickens, some goats, maybe sheep, maybe a cow, I don't know. And the point I'm trying to make is this: if you build a barn for them, and you are making a barn for them, will you get kicked off the land? I don't know. But the land's got to be out for agricultural use, hasn't it? Not domestic. But you've got to stay on the land to be a shepherd to the animals, look after the animals, and the welfare of the animals. So is that a good possibility? Because we love animals, and I just think, you know, I'd have to get something to chew the grass, wouldn't I? Sheep, horse, goats, whatever. Yeah, you get the idea. So excuse me. And then it's about siting a park home on it, having electricity, having sanitation and things like that. All these things, it's all very nice going to a site, it's already plumbed in and all this and that and the other. But when you're living in a property of your own on a bit of land, you think to yourself, what do you do? And then again, I think about my daughter's well-being and my wife's well-being. Me, I'm living in a truck most of the week, so I'm on my own. I do miss my wife, and I do miss my daughter and my doggies as well. I do have moments of loneliness, which is not very often, but I do miss my dogs a great deal. One thing I will say is that with a dog, they're your friend, they are your companion. You talk to them, you don't get none of the grief you get off a wife or daughter or son. So there's that bonus. But they can't talk to you like someone else. Bear with me for a minute before I yawn my head off again. Sorry about that, just had a drink of coffee. So put my words back. Fluffing my words again. The dilemma I have is what to do for the best. I've got a mortgage I've got 3 years left on my mortgage, right? They've given me a 2-year mortgage. In that 2 years, we've got to make a decision of where we're going to go, what we're going to do, and what's the best way forward. What would you do? This is the question to my viewers, my subscribers, right? If you was going to try and live off grid, how would you do it? Would you buy a caravan? Would you buy a park home? Would you buy a motor home? Would you buy a park home and a caravan and a vehicle? Because what we plan to do is sell the property we're living in, right? Because we want to have a bit of money, we can live and be comfortable. And the trouble is that once we pay the mortgage off, we probably have a little bit of money left. I don't know how much, right? But the problem we have is this: it will soon go, and I will still have to do work and try and bring a living in. And it's, I suppose the question is, have you done this sort of thing? Have you thought about that? Because when I was young, none of us think about retiring. I certainly didn't. I thought that's too far off. And now look where I am. I'm 64 and I'm knocking on the door of retirement. And I just think to myself, well, what do I do? How do I do this? You're not given a rule book. And I just sort of scratch my head and think, what the hell do I do? It is like that. Because one of the biggest problems I find in life is the money you're paying in tax, right? What do you get to show for it? We've got a country full of frigging immigrants that was called the land of plenty. Everyone and every nationality under the sun is in the UK. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of this government. The government are a load of muppets. Excuse my language, but they're absolute load of wankers, right? I wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire. That's out of the way. Now, as for the councils, where do I start? A load of bully boys and girls, a load of jobs worths, and you think to yourself, I hate them. I hate them like the government. They're just like another miniature version of the government, aren't they? Little dictators. I'm not anti-society. I just feel that we are just well and truly royally shafted, aren't we? And as for King Charles, I will give you my opinions in another video. But he might be king by name, but not the king by nature. It's only on paper, isn't it? Anyway, we don't get me started on that, because I'll tell you what I think. But we'll leave that for another day. And my point is this: what do I do for the best? How do I go about this? If you're in this position, right, and you've thought about what you're going to do for retirement, don't immigrate. But I've got dogs and I don't want to leave them. I don't want to leave them to anyone, because there are dogs and they're getting old like us. And I just feel that, you know, you do the best you can for your animals, and you love your wife dearly, and you love your daughters and sons, but they've flown the nests. I've got my daughter living at home. She hasn't flown the nest yet. She's trying the water again, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know. But the point is this, right? What's the word I'm looking for? You don't know what the future holds for you. You try and plan the future. You try and plan from experience. And experience tells me this: I will need somewhere to live. I don't want to pay tax after tax after tax. I'm sick of doing it all my life. And what have I got to show for it? Excuse my language, F all. I feel that we've had government after government after government robbing us blind, and there are a load of little Hitlers, dictators. I've seen too many governments come and go, and all they do is just polish up the bleeding sayings and doing this and doing that, and they all do the same. None of them are different. It's just that the civil servants tell them what to do and what they cannot do at the back of the, you know, the hand up the arse controlling them. And then you get, as I say, about the councils. They're just a miniature version of the government. And it's just, and then you get the police. What police? Road policing units. They're a freaking joke. Why? Because we haven't got none. And this is why there's so many crimes and law breaking and incidents and stuff like that. Because the policing unit that used to be road traffic policing was a crucial factor in every county. But hardly every county's got them now, because cutback after cutback after cutback. Oh no, but we can have every Tom, Dick or Harry into this country. We can spend 14 odd billion pounds on immigrants, but we can't have a police force with adequate staffing and road traffic divisions. I'm sorry, but this government have got their heads so far up their bloody arses, it's just recirculating it all the time. The crap that comes out of their mouth goes out their arse into their brains, and they're full of crap. Sorry, but I feel that the government has, I know I'm talking about this, that and everything, but I feel that the government has just, excuse my language, just shit on us all. That's how I feel. And this government has done the best job in the world. Do you know what that is? They have shown us the true colours of what utter bastards they are, because they don't care one iota about us people. Well, when it comes to general election, there's going to be an absolute landslide, and no one in their right mind will ever vote for Labour again. What they've done to the people in this country. We thought Conservative were bad, but gee whiz, it makes the Conservative look like bleeding saints, doesn't it? Even Thatcher. But yeah. Anyway, there's a roundabout conversation where it started and where it's gone, isn't it? So, sorry about that. I do tend to waffle on a little bit, as you might have gathered. But going back to what I was saying, and that is, what do we do? How do we do it? Anyway, sorry about rabbiting on, as I do say, and do. But I'd like your opinion. So please like, share and subscribe, and please leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope I haven't bored you to tears just yet. See you soon.